96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. Here we go again. Prime Minister Davis saying, why do we want to describe rape? Again, saying rape is rape. 2 men shot dead in separate incidents. And former Prime Minister Mindorff says he respects the F&M leadership. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Monday, April 15th, 2024. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Deandra Cartwright will be joining us. Also this morning, we're talking with Lightford Key International School about admissions and the streak of successes they've had over the last few years. We'll talk about that with them. And then later in business, it's a special edition of Morning Blend Business. We're partnering with the Central Bank to bring you Harborside Chats with the Governor Rolle. Doing some very important interviews this morning. We'll tell you more about that in just a bit. That's all ahead, but first it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while you were sleeping and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, a man shot and killed in New Providence. This was Friday afternoon, and then another shot dead in Abaco on Saturday morning. Police say in the first incident, a 42-year-old man was shot in the Kemp Road area of New Providence. Police say ShotSpotter notified them around 4:20 p.m. of gunshots in the vicinity of Apache Alley. Responding officers found the man lying on the road with multiple gunshot wounds, and emergency medical technicians pronounced him dead at the scene. Police say the victim was a subcontractor for the Water and Sewage Corporation. He was operating a private backhoe when a masked man in dark clothing approached and shot him multiple times before fleeing. In the second incident, a 37-year-old man was killed on Abaco early Saturday morning. Police say shortly after 1 a.m. there were reports of gunshots near Night Spot in Dundastown. Officers responding to the scene found the man inside a blue GMC Sierra truck with gunshot wounds. Police say the man and 2 passengers were leaving the establishment when a gunman emerged from nearby bushes, approached the driver's side of the truck and shot him multiple times. An off-duty police officer was also shot multiple times on Saturday night and was listed in serious condition. According to police, the incident took place around 8:30 p.m. near Blue Hill Road and Poinciana Drive when 2 men shot the officer while trying to break into a vehicle. The suspects fled the area north along Blue Hill Road. Police asking for anyone with information on these matters to give them a call at 911-919 or Crime Stoppers 328-TIPS. Though the Davis administration drafted an amendment to the Sexual Offences Act to criminalize rape or marital rape, Prime Minister Philip Davis says he does not like the idea of describing rape. Asked about the controversial issue on Friday, Davis said, quote, why do we want to describe rape? Rape is rape. We passed a bill that speaks to violence against persons. If you look at that bill, it covers any manner of what I call behavior that is not acceptable to society. Look at the bill that was passed. I don't like this idea of describing rape. Rape is rape, whether you are married or unmarried. The challenge they are having is describing it. Well, the bill Davis referred to is the Protection Against Violence Act 2023, which was passed in Parliament last year. It does not address the issue of marital rape. Under the Sexual Offences Act, rape is defined as the act of any person not under 14 years of age having sexual intercourse with another person who is not his spouse without the consent of that person. Former Prime Minister Dr Mindorff says he respects the leadership of the F&M, but he added that respect should be mutual. Mindorff was responding to questions from reporters days after former DNA leader Branville McCartney said he wants to see Minnis return as prime minister. Minnis shied away from saying whether he is seeking or intends to seek the leadership post at the party's convention later this year. He said, though, quote, once there is a convention, then everything is up. Chairman is up, leadership is up, all posts are up. At this point, at this time, there are no posts. There's no vacancy. Michael Pintard is the leader. That's who the party has selected. I respect leadership. But I've always maintained that respect should always go two ways. It cannot be a one-way thing. That's all I have to say. Pintard recently said the FNM plans to host a one-day convention by September. A woman convicted of murdering her one-year-old daughter released from the Sandlands Rehabilitation Center. Philippa Phoebe Marshall was convicted of the murder of her daughter, Felicia Marshall, on July 17, 2019, after a jury unanimously rejected her defenses of insanity and diminished responsibility. On December 28, 2017, Marshall set her baby afire on the instructions of demons. The baby died from those burns on February 14, 2018, 47 days after they were inflicted. Nonetheless, her trial lawyer convinced then Senior Justice Bernard Turner that Marshall's diagnosis of schizophrenia justified a departure from the sentencing guidelines for murder. As a result, Turner ordered Marshall be detained at Sandlands for a period of 6 years, unless a court determines, based on a medical report submitted by the court or to the court by a doctor with special experience in the diagnosis and treatment of mental disorders, that she should be released earlier. At the request of Marshall's new lawyer, psychiatrist Dr. Kirk Christie submitted a psychiatric report that said that Marshall's symptoms had been markedly attenuated and that she could continue to receive treatment as an outpatient. And a man accused of rape and armed robbery remanded to prison. Prosecutors say Samir Smith forced a woman into his car at gunpoint on April 7th as she walked along Golden Isles Road. He's accused of taking her to a track road where he allegedly raped and robbed her of $230. Smith didn't have to enter pleas to the charges of rape and robbery and armed robbery when he appeared before Assistant Chief Magistrate Carolyn Vogue Evans Friday. Bail was denied as the magistrate lacks jurisdiction to consider bail for the offenses. However, Smith can apply for bail in the Supreme Court. Overseas, the Israeli military renewed warnings on Monday for Palestinians in Gaza not to return to the embattled territories north, a day after Gaza's hospital officials said 5 people were killed as throngs of displaced residents tried to reach their homes in the war-torn area. Northern Gaza was an early target of Israel's war against Hamas, and vast parts of it have been flattened, forcing much of the area's population to flee to the south. While around 250,000 people are said to be living in the north, the Israeli military has prevented most displaced people from returning throughout the 6-month-long war, saying the area is an active battle zone. The military has reduced the number of troops it has in Gaza, as it has said it has loosened Hamas's control over the north. In sports, all season long, the other teams in the Province Volleyball Association were trying to figure out a way to beat the 3-time defending champions, Caribbean Gas Panthers. The Bamboo Shack Lady Warhawks finally did it, ending an unbeaten season for the Panthers on Sunday and taking 1-1 lead in the best-of-5 championship series. The Lady Warhawks prevailed in 5 tough sets, winning 25-22, 15-25, 25-20, 21-25, and 15-13 at the D.W. Davis Gym on Sunday. Read more about it in today's Guardian Sports section. The St. Augustine's College Big Red Machine showing that they are still motivated coming into the Bahamas National High School Track and Field Championships despite it happening after the Carifta Games, winning 6 of the 8 divisions up for grabs at the 4-day meet. Exciting high school nationals wrapped up Sunday at the original Thomas A. Robinson Track and Field Stadium with relay finals in all 8 divisions and the winners of the divisions being decided. With the number of schools separated into junior and senior, there is no overall winner, but Sac still showed their dominance, winning 6 divisions. Read all about that in today's Guardian Sports section as well. And not only will Bahamian professional basketball player Kai Jones get a second chance to prove himself in the NBA, but he could do so in the postseason, as the Los Angeles Clippers signed him to a multi-year deal Saturday, according to a subscription-based sports journalism website and the sports department of the New York Times. Shooting guard Joshua Primo, who has an ankle injury, will be released in order to make room for Jones on the Clippers' 15-man roster. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your first look at weather for today, we've got a stationary front that's generating some unsettled weather as it continues to weaken across the southeast Bahamas, while a deep, high-pressure system is maintaining dry and stable conditions across the remainder of the country. Beachgoers, though, should exercise caution along north and east coast beaches due to a moderate risk of rip currents. For today, for the northwest Bahamas, your forecast calls for partly sunny and warm conditions. Fair and warm tonight. Small craft should exercise caution in swells. Winds northeast to east at 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet, building up to 6 feet in northeast and easterly swells. For the central and southeast Bahamas, partly cloudy to cloudy, hot and breezy with widely scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms, heavy at times in the southeast Bahamas near the boundary through tonight. Small craft should exercise caution, winds northeast to east at 15 to 20 knots with higher gusts, seas 4 to 6 feet, but building up to 7 feet in easterly swells. Temperatures today, we're looking at highs getting up to around 82 Fahrenheit, 28 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down about 68 Fahrenheit, 20 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have an extended outlook coming up after traffic in just a bit.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up.
You're listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
It started off the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Simplify, letting things how to ease your way. Brighten your tomorrow, starting today. Simplify living for simplified living. Tuition, vacation, or a home redo. Simplify lending's here for you. Simplify lending for simplified living. Simplify lending for simplified living.
Here's to the go-getters, the early risers, and the late-night dreamers. You, the visionaries, painting futures in your mind, in your studio, your office, your sacred space. Here's to the adventurers, explorers of every realm. To you, the innovators, turning the cogs of progress. In a world where connection is a lifeline, a pathway to possibilities. Alive is the perfect connection for everyone, every lifestyle. Every day.
Visit BeAlive.com today.
Living with a neurological condition shouldn't define you. At Cleveland Clinic in Florida, we do whatever it takes to make life better today while discovering new treatments for a brighter tomorrow. From epilepsy management to specialized spine care and brain tumor surgery, we're delivering world-class neurology care for the day-to-day, for the days you live for every care in the world. Visit clevelandclinicflorida.org/Caribbean.
The signs are clear. It's time to pay less for your current mortgage by switching to Scotiabank. Enjoy lower interest rates and no payments up to 2 months when you switch to Scotiabank today. Plus, we'll even pay your switch costs. It's that easy. Ready to switch to Scotiabank? Call us today at 242-356-1697 or visit bs.scotiabank.com to switch your mortgage to become mortgage-free faster.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and carved body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Wherever you're headed, the Custom Computers Know-How team is standing by to help guide you in the East and the West. We now have 2 convenient locations on Patton Street in Palmdale and our newest store in the Caves Village Shopping Plaza through the Blake Road entrance. Discover the latest products by top international brands and the knowledge you need to unleash tomorrow's technology today. Drop by Custom Computers out east or out west. We're open Saturdays from 10 till 4.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Deandra Cartwright. Deandra Cartwright.
Morning, Dwight.
Good morning. Good morning. Recovered from last week.
You know, that expo, we needed more time. We really needed more time out there. It was so beautiful. Mm-hmm. I passed by on Saturday again. It was so full.
Yeah, excellent.
I saw my sisters were teasing me. They said I was being mean because I was showing them the videos that I took of the mutton walking. It was a mutton walking. I don't care if it was still... Sheep and goats still live in that's mutton, okay? Mm-hmm. As a Long Island woman, I was looking at that and I was like, you know what all I could make with that?
Oh, boy. Did you go back and get... Yeah, I do. I really do. Did you go back and get some?
If they were still living, you know, I don't think they were slaughtering
I thought they said they were going to have some out.
Apparently they had a live birth, I was told.
Stop. What? What now?
One of the...
Eat that then?
The livestock gave birth. So I don't know if they did the actual slaughter.
Out there in front of everybody?
Yeah, I guess so. At one point, actually, when I went down to go check on the livestock, because I was like, oh, I feel like I'm home now. They had separated the mums and the lambs, the ewes and the lambs. And then it was like, no, we can't separate them. You got to put them together. I was like, look at y'all respecting the little bond.
So if they did that, they would know, each one would know theirs, right?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they had to be nudged a little bit, but the call, they know who they're going to, obviously, because it's like
Isn't that beautiful?
if I recall correctly, it's like a biological thing.
Yeah.
So they'll start to produce milk when they hear the baby.
Well, okay. It's
You know what it
fascinating
is?
stuff, eh?
You like the back end of it.
Right,
so you
right,
want
no,
the
I
button
can't
on
see
your
that.
plate.
As I tell you, if I were to see that, I would become a vegan.
I think a lot of people would actually. A lot of people would. My granddaddy used to run sheep. So I grew up when I spent time up home with them. I knew about that, but then one of my cousins, he was so wicked. He called me to the window one day because I was inside reading, and he was like, "Come look." Just about the time they slaughtered.
Oh
sheep.
no!
And I was like, now begins the time where I will be the Long Islander who does not eat mutton. Yeah.
But of course, you did go back.
Pardon?
You did go back to eat it.
Yeah, man, I'll eat
Yeah,
mutton.
right. Yeah, exactly.
I like lamb, you know.
See, we like to say things, but okay. But no, I wouldn't want to see the slaughter. No, I couldn't. Yeah, just thinking about it, we gotta change the
You don't
subject.
think the meat on your plate came from somewhere? It used to make noises, you know.
Oh boy. Anyway, coming up this
You'll become pescatarian.
coming up this morning, which I was for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Just
No, I mean pescatarian is built into the Mediterranean diet, which is they claim the healthiest one. So I fancy actually.
psychologically, it was messing with me though.
Yeah, you
but
think so? Okay.
but you know, because you need the meat once in a while.
My peas and rice.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Hey. All right. So coming up this morning, we're going to be talking with the Life for Key International School. They've got a lot of exciting things going on, and they're getting ready for next year already. So if you want
forward
to know
planning.
information about admissions, you're going to get those details this morning. And then later in business, we got part one of a two-part special we have with the Central Bank. Harborside chats with the governor, Governor John Rolle. He's going to be talking with 3 former governors of the Central Bank. And we're going to have that for you today and tomorrow in Morning Blend Business. But right now, let's get into what else is in the news. All right, so in the news, we've been on the air for 12 years, and I feel we've been talking about this for 12 very long years. And here we are again with that deja vu feeling all over again. The headline today, why do we want to describe rape? That's Prime Minister Davis asking that question. The PM again says rape is rape. Will we ever move away from this? Travis Carter writing about it today. Though the Davis administration drafted an amendment to the Sexual Offences Act to criminalize marital rape, Prime Minister Philip Davis says he does not like the idea of describing rape. It's not quite what it is. But anyway, asked about the controversial issue on Friday, the Prime Minister said, quote, why do we want to describe rape? Rape is rape. He said, quote, we passed a bill that speaks to violence against persons. If you look at that bill, it covers any manner of what I call behavior that is not acceptable to society. Look at the bill that was passed. I don't like this idea of describing rape. Rape is rape, whether you are married or unmarried. The challenge they are having is describing it. The bill Davis referred to is the Protection Against Violence Act 2023, which was passed in Parliament last year. It does not address the issue of marital rape. Under the Sexual Offences Act, rape is defined as, quote, the act of any person not under 14 years of age having sexual intercourse with another person who is not his spouse without the consent of that person. The draft amendment to the act, which was released for consultation in 2022, removes the words, quote, who is not his spouse from the definition of rape. In 1993, the Bahamas ratified the United Nations Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. The criminalization of marital rape is one of the commitments contained in the convention. In 2017, a UN Special Rapporteur on violence against women pointed out that the Bahamas has failed to live up to obligations under CEDAW, as it failed to criminalize all forms of marital rape. Now, while multiple administrations have pledged to deal with the marital rape issue, none acted on it. Prime Minister Davis has repeatedly dodged the question on whether his administration will table the bill and pass it. in 2021 after saying marital rape is not a priority of his government. He backtracked and said a national conversation on marital rape was needed. And his wife, Anne-Marie, has said that she supports criminalizing marital rape and believes the government should move forward with legislation to do that. Last May, Attorney General Ryan Pinder said that outlawing marital rape was the number one human rights issue countries raised with the Bahamas when the United Nations Human Rights Commission reviewed its record. At the time, he said the issue was one that would be reviewed by the newly established Parliamentary Committee on Human Rights. However, as of February, that committee was still awaiting appointments. Pinder told The Guardian last week that there were no updates on the bill. When asked about the bill last week, Minister of Social Services and Information and Technology Miles LaRota said, quote, "Stay tuned." Activist groups have called for the government to act. Bahamas Crisis Center Director Dr. Sandra Dean Patterson said she hasn't given up on the bill. She said that last week. Okay, so we're still here, folks, still here. Let's get your reaction to this. If you understand what the Prime Minister is saying here. Okay, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. And call us toll-free, 242-300-5720. Well, and the Prime Minister can say what he's saying if you don't want this, as he put it, description, but then keep the proposed legislation that was, right, that had moved out the words, who was not his spouse. Then you would do what he's saying. You won't need a, quote, description, and it would be rape is rape, indeed, which it is not currently in the Bahamas.
Explicitly stated inside legislation, this is the point of the discussion that needs to happen and the actions that need to occur. There's nothing explicitly in the law, and that's the problem. That's why the country has been called out by the United Nations in several fora, because we have nothing on the books that speak to it. And when they were having the consultations with those persons in society that actually deal with this matter on a regular basis, it was very, I think, disrespectful, honestly, for their thoughts to have been tossed to the side with the elimination of certain references in the revised bill that is now law. Now, if it's fully enacted, I'm not particularly sure. Can it be amended? It needs to. But I think what needs to occur, we need to have more informational sessions, I think, because when you have persons who may not either fully understand or fully appreciate the matter, actually, moving on it, this is where we have this discrepancy.
Yeah.
However, the reality is, how are you expecting women to feel safe if there's nothing in law to protect them? And the amount of abuse that occurs in marriages inside this country is off the charts. It literally is not documented. The discrepancy between the numbers kept by the Royal Bahamas Police Force and that of the Crisis Center, I would caution persons to just look at that. There is a vast difference in those numbers because people simply do not report it. Mm-hmm. Then it goes back to how women are handled by persons in law enforcement to say, really, what did you do? What did you do to him? It is his right. I remember standing at a wedding, and the pastor was saying that that's your wife now, that's your things. Even if she don't want to give you it, you could take it because that's your things. Because you got papers. And these were learned people,
How many people in the audience laughed?
And yeah, they were. And I'm looking around, I'm like, do you all not realize that this pastor is literally telling this man that he can violate his wife and nothing should happen because he has papers? So my thing is, it's a cultural approach, and that's why nobody wants to touch it. And then when we think about it, those religious leaders who talk about anything other than what they should be talking about, then they go back to the role of a woman in a marriage. And I love to remind people, let's complete that passage. Mm-hmm. Because when it says that a wife should be obedient to her husband or whatnot, it also says that the husband should love the woman as Christ did the church. Will you die for that woman? Because that's what Christ did. So I think, honestly, we need to have an open conversation and stop dancing around the issue.
Yeah.
Please. We've been doing this for longer than I've been dealing with women's issues.
And long before that, right?
Definitely.
As you said, much.
Why does it have to continue? Like, honestly, every time I see this right here, it actually causes me to become viscerally upset.
Very bizarre.
Because this is something that women deal with. They just released, I think, which study it was, I think last week, talking about the fact that every Bahamian woman, 1 in 4, will experience some type of abuse. And that's only that we know of, people. It's not as simple as just describing. I'm so sorry. Maybe the coffee hasn't kicked in just yet. It's not just about descriptions. It's the reality that we had these things inside the proposed legislation.
But again, if that is how he feels, is he aware that these words were taken out of the proposed legislation? And that was going to address what he says he doesn't like.
Okay, so today you're me and I'm you, right? So I like the fact that you're being diplomatic.
Okay.
But you're telling me that the Prime Minister was unaware of what the draft
I don't understand
legislation.
because what he's saying doesn't mesh with what happened. What happened?
Because it was there. If I recall, I mean, I would be very careful how I speak about this. So I'm trying not to say certain things. But at the same time, when you're drafting legislation, there are several drafts before you get to the end.
Right.
And on such a touchy issue, you would think that those persons in leadership would want to follow something like that because every member of parliament has women in their constituency. Are you telling me we don't care about what happens to our women? But then again, let's look at the reflection of women in power in this country and look at the roles that they're relegated to.
Well, we know how this goes. 12 years, we are experts at how this conversation is going to go this morning. People will call in and say we don't have any stats to say how many women are actually experiencing this. We're only going by pressure from the outside community. What else will they say? Right? And women know what to do. If they're in a situation like this, you can just leave. We're going to hear all of that
Leave
this
and
morning.
go where? I think it was a Candy Gibson speaking out last week about the issue of shelters inside the country. Where would a woman go if she's being abused? Like, where definitively would she go if she doesn't have family support? And the reality is that the economic situation of the majority of women in this country, they are unable to leave the homes in which they live because they have no other place to go. And when you take into further factors such as that man who may be abusing her and their children possibly, being the breadwinner, then where is she supposed to go? It's like we can say, oh, just leave. Where is she going? Are you going to help her? Because I think also inside the commentary that was going on last week, if we look at the social security net that's in place for women who are in those abusive situations, what truly is available? Do you know how long it takes to get assistance? That's not an overnight thing. And so, again, I go back to my theory of that social circle, of the circular system that exists. This is one part of the issue. But if we're unable to open up our eyes truly to see it and try to address it, but I don't know. I'm trying to figure out with so many persons speaking on this, doing research on it, working in the area. Sandra Patterson, Layla Green, they've been doing it for years. The up-and-comings, Alicia Wallace. We have young women, older women who have been talking about this for years, but it's almost like are the persons in power, successive administrations, are they actually listening?
And what happened to all the consultation already, right? The meetings with the Baptists who were the pastors who were, what was the last thing we heard that was holding up advancing the legislation. So where do things stand now? But again, we've heard, we're going to hear all your excuses. So if I already called off the ones that you like to call in to say, that you don't really need to call in to tell us this. And yes, we know you're going to say women are spiteful and they like to withhold. And so what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? All that stuff. And they'll lie. And if they don't get the things that they want. And so that's why this is dangerous. Okay, so we put them all on the table. If you have new arguments or something new to say, call in today. Let's hear what this caller has to say. Good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight. How are you?
Doing well.
Right here. I guess you'll have to look at the legislation. I know that any issues, the assault or any matter has to go, if you assault somebody, has to go before the court, male or female. But if they need to revise it and look carefully and see if the needs are being met on the situation. But I must caution the young lady, not because the United Nations, whoever, trying to push an issue. First of all, I don't believe that any United Nations should push any issue in any sovereign country in relations to, say, gay life and all that stuff. You know, I don't believe it. I think let's deal with our problem in the Bahamas, and we have to adjust any laws that's adjusted, but not to people's agenda. We have a lot of women, right, who have their agendas and what they want, but the lifestyle can't happen in this country.
Rape?
It's against the law of God. So if United Nations
We're
says,
talking about rape, though. What are you talking about?
No, that's what I'm saying. If we have to make adjustment and look at that,
but we're not making the adjustment. That's the point.
Yeah, whatever the adjustment is that needs to be made.
But no one's making it.
Pardon me?
Nobody is making it. We're just talking.
But like I say, you have to press your case and show exactly why you think it should be the adjustment be made. But see, these
why rape shouldn't be allowed if you're married?
No, I didn't say that. You know,
that's what we're talking about. You are bringing up all kinds of other things. Why are you doing that?
If you feel that that it needs to be adjusted, that okay, the word rape should be if you're married or not. Fine, if that's what you want to put there.
That's all we're talking about today.
Yeah, but I'm saying to you, behind the backdrop, right? These other persons are supporting other agendas.
Why are you talking about that?
Nations, and I know them.
Okay, but that's not relevant to the conversation today. What is that? Why? See,
that was the same convoluted situation that has impeded the progress of our country, of our women, for so very long. And if I may, thank you so much, caller, for cautioning me that you have to wait till the coffee kicks in fully. Mummy, I know you're listening to me. I would really have loved one of your cups of coffee this morning before I came on the show to talk about something like this. But I want to remind the caller, and according to the article, and again, those who know me know that I know just a little something about this stuff. So I understand what I'm saying, I think. In 1993, the Bahamas ratified, that means our country chose to sign on to the United Nations Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. The criminalization of marital rape is one of the commitments contained in the convention. That means that from the year of our Lord, 1993, the Bahamas, the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, committed to protecting its women. And one of those commitments was supposed to be the criminalization of marital rape, amongst other things. When we bring up what the United Nations has said, and that's not just the Special Rapporteur on Violence Against Women, but that's also the Human Rights Council, that's the General Assembly. We've heard this from many fora at the United Nations about how we have failed. We have failed our women on multiple accounts. Those reports are available. Those reports have been written about our country for years. So it's not necessarily any agenda, because only how the United Nations in this, or any representative of, would be talking to us about it is because we chose to start that conversation decades ago. So is it that we choose to be back, or did we not mean anything when we signed on to it?
Well, apparently it depends on who went over there to sign on to it. That's the challenge for some of our listeners, it seems. Good morning, caller, you're on the air. Hi, good morning. Are you there? Yeah. Hello. Hi, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning to both of you.
Hi, good morning.
I am wondering if this problem could be solved with a prenup. We know frequency and rate, how often and for how long. And could we just simply say, well, look, outside of this prenuptial agreement, then there's violation. Because it looks like we're going to be dancing around this moral, immoral issues, using all sort of definitions, because,
why would a prenup work in a situation like this?
Because we know on Friday is when we go at it until Monday. And we go at it until one drops out almost dead until Monday. And then we start over again on Friday.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I really like your humor, but I don't think this is the conversation for that. Not today.
I think, fun fact, though, I don't think we have prenups in this country.
That too. But still, I mean,
that wouldn't fit that.
It's just respecting people's wishes. And if
I think that's also a common factor as to what's missing in a lot of these marriages. Respect.
Respect, yeah, absolutely.
Why did you marry that woman? What did you want from her? Because if there's talk about it, I'm so sorry again. this is something I'm very passionate about, so I tend to lose a lot of my diplomacy in certain instances, especially when I hear certain things that lack the intelligence that I would hope persons may have. But when you look at the person who you went before God to tie yourself to, what exactly was the covenant that you entered into with that person? Was it simply to be a sex slave then? I mean, wouldn't you have certain conversations about the expectations of what you would want? And also, we're humans. There would be certain instances where certain obligations cannot be met. But then again, we have to also remember that we justify sweethearting in this country. To say if your needs are not being met, you go outside, or even if your needs are being met, you still go outside the marital bed. So we need to be real. I think we need to be very upfront and frank about this conversation. But I'm not sure if we're ready for that. I really am not sure.
Brace yourself then. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Dwight, good morning to you again.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, first I just want to commend the Prime Minister. Dwight, I think he is on the cutting edge and a revolutionary leader on this one as relates to marital rape. I know you have opposing views, Dwight, but we have some conservatives in this country too. Not everybody are liberals. We have some conservatives. And the commissioner of police...
Okay, so pause right there. Pause a second. So what does that have to do with rape?
It have a lot to do with it because the commissioner of police...
So it's a liberal view to think that you shouldn't be able to rape your spouse?
No, it's more crazy not to ask these people to walk away from the situation and file a complaint to the police. The police is still waiting on one complaint from a married woman, And that's been
first of all, that's not true.
Right. I mean, it's not true.
It's not true.
Asked the women to come forward and report these matters. He didn't.
You're mixing up stories.
What mixing up
listen,
stories, right? On the same issue of marital rape.
That rape is not on the...
victims to come forward. To date, no one has come forward.
Mm-hmm.
So who are these people? Why don't you invite about 5 or 3
so
or 4
you
or
don't
4,
think
one married person who's being raped to come forward?
Why would they do that? You really
why
think...
wouldn't they do that?
Oh man, you all need to stop.
They still have
Come
to
on.
go to court if these matters is prosecuted.
It can't because it is not against the law. They can't do that. It's not against the law.
So you are saying to me, Dwight, listen to me. You're saying to me.
So you really believe you know that there are men out here beating their wives, but you cannot. But hold on. You know that there are men. 1 second, Cleaver. You know that there are men. Everybody in this country seems to know. He beating her, right? Everybody knows that there are men beating women, but you cannot fathom that there are men raping their wives. That is completely out of this universe.
Okay.
I'm asking you a question.
Okay.
I'm asking you a question.
I'll concede and say yes. But then let me make my point to qualify why I'm saying yes. You're saying to me, your co-host is saying to me, and saying to the Bahamas and the world at large right now, that if a man handcuff his wife, beat her, verbally abuse her, and then rape her, the judge now, and that matter goes to court. You're saying to me now that judge is going to discount or not mention anything about rape and just prosecute him for physical abuse?
Yes.
That's what you're saying?
That is the case.
You got to be
That is the case. Right? We just had a case. We went through that. Remember that case where the judge says, I cannot prosecute you on the rape part because it's not against the law, but all the other things, yes. And so I give you the grounds for divorce. Why are you all acting brand new? Come on. You know this is the case. It is not against the law to rape your wife in the Bahamas or for the wife to rape her husband. It's not against the law. Beat, yes. Well, I don't know if you... Yeah, I guess you could steal... I don't know. Anyway, anything but rape. You could do anything but rape. Or is it you could rape... Well, you know what I mean. Right. To go to jail if you... Right. But rape, no. That's the case. Are you not understanding that part? You go to the police station. I was just raped. Did he beat you? No, he just really held me down and raped me. Oh, well, you should leave him. That's all the police can say. That's all they can say. And you really should leave him. But you can't. The rape thing, oh, well, if y'all weren't married, we could go arrest him. And a lot of people think that's fine.
Yeah.
because it wasn't like a stranger. He didn't beat you up or anything. Just leave him. You don't need that. You don't need that. And some people will think that's the best way to deal with the situation. Many others don't think it is. And that likely this man will do it again, or this woman will do it again. And there needs to be some form of punishment. Divorce is not enough. Some of you think that is fine. And that is why we're having these problems. But let's not pretend like people aren't getting raped, sexually abused by their spouses. That'd be foolish to think that. You all seem to know everybody's business. You know every single woman getting beat by her husband around here. I don't know how you know it, but you do. Let's take some more calls before we take a break. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Let's see if we can squeeze that caller in before we get to these messages and have to take a break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, Dwight, I just have a question. You popped something in my mind this morning. Are they statistics of married women filing against their husbands at this point in time?
Filing what?
Against their husband about rape or abuse.
It wouldn't be rape. I mean, maybe the crisis center might have those numbers.
Because I wanted to ask the young lady who was on your show if she knows about that, or I don't know if she's married or not. That's another thing. I don't know if she's married, but I'd like to hear from the married women. Call on the talk show. Now, if she's not married, well, that's a whole new ball game.
Why would it be a whole new ball game?
What difference?
I would like
to hear. Because you're saying the
how many men come forward? All of you keep saying that the women abusing men around here too, but I don't hear the men coming forward. People don't come forward about this.
From them.
Why would they do that?
Because
that's their personal business.
If you're fighting a cause, you have to come forward. That's how Martin Luther King came
and tell the married men. Tell the married men to come forward too. Tell the married men who've been abused by their wives to come forward too. Will they do that? They're not going to do that. That's a private matter. But they can't even go to the police about it. Right? Why would they come on a radio and talk about it? Yeah. Are you all serious? You don't take this seriously. That's why you would say something like that. I'm flabbergasted by this response. This is why we're here. We're going to be here 12 more years talking about it. I mean, I won't be here. I can't take it. I can't take it. Which one?
Now, I'm astounded because apparently I can't have anything to say.
If you're not married, you got to shut your mouth. But they won't say that about the abortion issue, though. They won't say if everybody in the world can have an opinion on that one. But the rape, marital rape, you got to be married in order to have a view. We've heard that before. We've heard some prominent people say those things. Well, that's just beautiful. Let's take these calls quickly. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Dwight, good morning. Ms. Cartwright.
Hi,
Dwight, for 12 years we've had a solution. Now we've been looking for the problem. You had lawyers on your station talking about the outdatedness of the marital laws of the Bahamas.
Yes.
We somehow seem to be averse to creating a no-fault divorce or a separation decree. So an individual, upon finding such circumstances for which they cannot live, can simply file for a separation, which then terminates or suspends the marriage. Now, we somehow to convolute and conflate this with saying, yeah, but the woman will have nowhere to go, or the man will have nowhere to go. Yes, I would like for them to come forward. But the question is that those are conflation of concepts, because is that if there's a problem, you say, well, we haven't built, I hear politicians, other people say, well, we haven't built any place yet to intercept them, some social housing or crisis centers, whatever else. The problem is that if you have a problem, and one of the ways we said is that when the individuals are separated or some disagreement, that they're still married or still distorted, then change the law to allow for facilitating separation in marriage, legal separation, and no-fault divorce. I know we somehow want to maintain the Christian concept of marriages until death do you die. If we don't fix this, then one of them could end up dying. So why are we somehow trying to adjust the laws around what some external force tell us, when the simplest point is directly going to it? Update the marital laws. Plain and simple, regardless of what the church is saying and whatever it's believed. If the marriage can be reconciled, tell the pastor to go and reconcile during the separation, and we'll just continue on. Other than that, we move to the next step of divorce, and both are protected under the law. This is not complicated. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Well, I see the F&M leader has changed his position on it since he was asked about it here a few years back, but he's now supporting no-fault divorces, and proud of him for that. But we'll see. I mean, people say things when they are in opposition, and when they get in,
when you're not in power,
yeah,
you say another when you get in power,
exactly.
Or you wait a little while till after you get in power, and then you change your story.
Right, or you try to push it through in the final month of your term, and then the House. Caller, are you there? Good morning. Are you there? Hello?
Yes, good morning, Mr. Strachan. Good morning to your guest.
Good morning.
I am in agreement with you. I think marital rape should be put on the books. But now we run into another issue. What is going to happen to the men if their wife just decides that I am not going to give my husband what he's entitled to? Where do we go from here? So if we solve that issue, I think we're going to have to put something else on the book. That men are going to have other wives, or they're going to have to be able to have what they call concubines.
Are you serious right now?
I'm serious. I mean,
hey, it's not against the law to go and have an affair. I'm not encouraging it, but I mean,
I didn't say an affair. I didn't say an affair.
Oh, you want to make it legal? Okay, all right.
Could it be legal to have an extra wife? I mean, another wife?
Yeah.
Is that possible?
Are you really being serious, though? I mean, this is not a joke?
No, I mean, they have countries that have men that have more than one wife. Mm-hmm. And then in the Bible, they have men that have more than one wife. If you say we are a Christian nation.
And she'll be able to have more than one husband, one who won't be inclined to have multiple. I think it sounds like
the caller is saying we need to legalize sex work. So
I am saying to you.
Access sex workers, maybe?
Well, like Seattle just mentioned,
I can't hear it too well.
Like Seattle just mentioned, clearly we need no-fault divorces, and people need to have serious conversations before they get into their marriages about what they want and what their expectations are. And, but that kind of... Hey, I mean, talk to her. She might not mind you having 3 other women, one each night of the week. You could, right? You'd be surprised. But let's not use this as, okay, well, I won't rape you if I can have a different woman every night. Okay, fine, good. Seriously?
Yeah, but again, what is the purpose of the wife in that instance? Just to satisfy physical pleasure. That's it. That's not is that the only role of a wife for some of our men?
Cook and clean too.
Oh, no, but then so it's maid, sex worker. What else? Like
nurse.
That's it. Nurse. Oh goodness. Caretaker. So just a service worker.
Nanny,
right. So are you going to compensate her for all of these different things?
Child rearer. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You knew this. Come on now. Everyone's playing brand new today.
And also
I don't know why.
to note, if for the caller earlier who was asking about the different statistics, I would caution you, actually, if you can get in touch with the Bahamas Crisis Center, who regularly talks about this. In fact, they've said that usually the numbers are doubled from what we have seen. In one case, I think Dr. Patterson has gone on record a few years back to say if there's a certain amount of women that have been violated, there's twice as many children that are being violated. We have a problem in this country when it comes to sexual relations. And I think that's really the crux of all of this.
Yeah.
Can you control yourselves? That's what I really want to know.
This text, as we go to the break, this person says here, good morning, sir. I was a police officer, and I am sure I had dealt with wives beating their husbands. All this garbage needs to be stopped because there is no such thing as marital rape. Okay. Rape is on the books, and let's leave it at that. It's not on the books for marriages. That's like gay rights, which is garbage because the law of our land covers rights for everyone. You're really back and forth. You're on a seesaw today talking about all kinds of different things. But, I don't understand what the wives being the husband has to do with the marital rape thing. What are you saying that? What's your point? I'm sure you did deal with that. There's a bunch of violent women around here. Yeah, okay. What about it? But there are wives getting raped by their husbands. Sure, you know that. What are you saying? Everything's happening. If it isn't happening in the Bahamas, it doesn't happen in the world. We know this. Anyway, let's take a break. Hey, we're celebrating our 12th anniversary. So today we're playing songs that were big hits 12 years ago in 2012 all morning long. So listen to that as we go. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Exploring mortgage options? With cash back and up to 90% financing, we'll find the perfect mortgage for you. Pre-qualify in just 60 seconds and get connected with a mortgage specialist today. Visit rbc.com/mortgages/all of you. RBC. Conditions apply.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. And now at 8:19, it's time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. Sherwin-Williams Paints has got you covered for all of your painting and equipment needs. Visit them in-store or online today. So here's what's happening. We've got a stationary front generating some unsettled weather as it continues to weaken across the southeast Bahamas, while a deep high-pressure system is maintaining dry and stable weather conditions across the remainder of the country. Beachgoers should exercise caution along north and east coast beaches due to a moderate risk of rip currents. So for today, for the northwest Bahamas, expect partly sunny and warm conditions, fair and warm tonight. For the central and southeast Bahamas, partly cloudy to cloudy, hot and breezy with widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms, heavy at times in the southeast Bahamas near the frontal boundary through tonight. Temperatures today getting up into the 80s, highs near 82 Fahrenheit, 28 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 68 Fahrenheit, 20 Celsius. In your extended outlook, that dry, stable air mass will spread throughout the country as the broad area of high pressure, along with a moderate to fresh breeze, will build across the country. So for tomorrow, Tuesday, sunny and warm in the northwest Bahamas, partly cloudy to cloudy and breezy with isolated showers and thunderstorms in the central and southeastern islands. Wednesday, partly to mostly sunny, hot and breezy, fair and mild at night. That's your Morning Blend weather check, brought to you by Easy Car Sales. Do you think you can't afford a new electric vehicle? Well, think again. Easy Car Sales has many models of affordable EVs competitively priced to suit your pocketbook and your lifestyle. And every electric car comes with your personal home charger. There's an EV waiting for you at Easy Car Sales. Find it on easy242.com. 8:21, time for a check of traffic, brought to you by RBC, a bank for all of you. In your real-time traffic this morning, we've got a number of hot spots to tell you about. As usual, Mile Butler Highway, heavy traffic from well south of the Fire Trail roundabout from about Bellet Road, heading northbound all the way up to Tonic Williams-Darling Highway. Traffic backed up along Fire Trail as well for you, eastbound this morning. Just a little bit west, we've got Glasson Road busy for you as well, just north of Fire Trail, straight up to the roundabout with John F. Kennedy Drive and Bahamar Boulevard. A 6-acre roundabout looking busy as well. We've got multiple directions there. Eastbound on JFK, northbound on Milo Butler Highway, southbound on New Providence Highway. And a bit of congestion on the Farrington Road, southwestbound side as well. And we've got Saunders Beach on West Bay Street. If you're heading eastbound, you're going to see some slow-moving traffic as you get closer to the roundabout with New Providence Highway. Still along West Bay Street as you approach Arawak Key and just to east of Arawak Key, heading towards Nassau Street. Slow-moving traffic there as well. Robinson Road, as usual, another hotspot for you, just east of the intersection with Soldier Road and straight through to Old Trail and East-West Highway, Marathon Road, busy there. Marathon Road northbound traffic, slow-moving as you head toward the roundabout with Wolf Road. Bernard Road also busy for you westbound, and Eastern Road as well, just east of Fox Hill to about Johnson Road. That's what we're looking at right now in your real-time traffic. That's your Morning Blend Traffic Alert, brought to you by RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/all of you for more information.
We don't just use beef, it's fresh, never frozen. Our burgers are square because we never cut corners. Served hot off the grill with fresh lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and American cheese. We believe in fast food done right. Always serving fresh, never frozen beef. Order a hot, juicy Dave single, double, or triple. Made with fresh, never frozen beef. Now only at Wendy's. Different inside and out.
Take some advice from your Aunt Angie. If you're going to invest in an exotic pet, choose anything but a Norwegian forest cat. Apparently, they will eat all your jewelry. Before you know it, you're racing to the vet when your cat escapes from his carrier and lunges for your earrings. You crash and your cat swallows your pearls. But if you're smart, you'll have CG Motor Insurance and get the best comprehensive coverage for the price.
Get the best comprehensive coverage for the price. CG Atlantic Insurance Agents and Brokers. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
Bring your family, bring your friends, bring your gal. Come witness history in the making at the 2024 World Athletic Relays Chase the Sun, Paradise to Paris, happening here in Nassau, Bahamas. Hundreds of the best runners from more than 40 countries will compete for their place in the 2024 Paris Olympics, May 4th and 5th at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium. Get your tickets early at worldrelaysbahamas24.org or at the Andre Rogers Baseball Stadium box office.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
Don't shop at Sherwin-Williams then. Don't get the best service in the Bahamas then.
The love is really, really strong in Sherwin-Williams. We don't just sell paint. We service you with a smile, good hearts, mind, soul, and body. And we love our customers as much as we love ourselves. Yes. Real talk. I'm not just saying this to impress myself. We love to go beyond with customer service. So they feel delighted to come in Sherwin-Williams because they know I can either see Dee Dee, or I can see Shelly, or one of our other wonderful staff members. We treat our customers with the respect of our boss because there are many paint companies they could choose to go to. No, baby. If they go to some other paint companies, so I gonna get this little thing at the end of the week.
We want to make sure you get that little ting, Shelley. Come visit Shelley and Dee Dee at Sherwin-Williams Bahamas, and you'll surely find color in every day.
In 2023, over 9 million visitors came to the Bahamas. This year, we plan on shattering that record. That's why tourism is everyone's business.
Paradise is not only found in Nassau, but throughout our 16-island destination.
No matter who you are or what you do, we all have a part to play in our tourism industry.
This is our country.
These are our islands.
This is our home.
That's why tourism is everyone's business.
You've seen electric cars on the road, but isn't it time you drive one? Easy Car Sales invites you to experience the smooth, powerful ride and immerse yourself in the luxury and latest tech features. Find out why the Bahamas is going electric. Visit easy242.com and book your test drive now. What are you waiting for? Save money, drive smarter. There's an EV waiting for you at Easy Car Sales.
Doctors Hospital has reimagined primary care. We have invested to improve our health system, ensuring that accessible, affordable, world-class clinical care is closer to you. We understand that your relationship with a primary care provider shapes the foundation of your overall health. Our new modern primary care facilities are where critical diagnoses and true personalized treatment begins. With locations across New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Exuma, we invite you to experience the Doctors Hospital difference. Book your next appointment at clinics.doctorshosp.com.
You know the bed feels warmer, sleeping here alone. You know I dream in color and do the things I want. You think you got the best of me, think you've had the last laugh, bet you think that everything good is gone. Think you left me broken down, think that I'll come running back. Baby, you don't know me 'cause you're dead wrong. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. What doesn't kill you makes a fighter. Puts that secret lighter. Doesn't mean I'm over 'cause you're gone. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, stronger. Just me, myself, and I. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong along with Deandra Cartwright. Hey, we're playing songs from 2012.
I can't
Big
believe
hits
that
from
song is that old
yeah,
already.
and the songs in 2012 really speak to a lot of the issues we're facing and actions that you need to embrace in order to make it.
No, I don't like that mentality. I
Hmm?
don't.
What doesn't kill you
What
make you
doesn't kill me
stronger?
makes you stronger. Why are you trying to kill me in the first place? Why should that be my reality? That I got to survive being killed to become strong.
Well, no, I think you're looking at it too literally there.
Literally?
But yeah, but just all these adversities will make you a
I tell
better
you,
a
today
better person.
You're me and I'm you. This is good though,
What's
because
that
usually
movie
you're the
called?
pessimistic one.
Yeah, I tell you. Maybe I had a good weekend. Maybe that's it.
Oh, tell me more.
No, I'm just asking. I'm just saying. I'm not saying I did have a good weekend. I'm saying maybe I did.
Oh, you want to keep
Maybe
people
I
on
did.
the cliff.
Anyway, all right. So here we go, folks. We're talking about again, probably. I think how many times? Anyway, I think we've had every year for 12 years. Just the marital rape conversation gets hot, and then dies down and gets hot again. But here we are, 2024. We're back to it again because of what the Prime Minister is saying. Saying rape is rape. Why do we need to describe it? This is a contradiction in what he's saying, because you do need to, because the law right now, the existing law does describe it. You can rape anyone except for your spouse. So if we want to use that word description or describing, it is how it is, and we'd love for you to remove the description and make it rape is rape, but that's not what our law is right now. And so, what are you going to do about it, Mr. Prime Minister? It's up to you. You can change this, but you all keep describing it. You keep doing it. You do it. Nobody else. Rape is not rape here in this country. But anyway, here we go. As I told you, the things that people would say. These are the text messages coming in.
Here we go.
So this person says here, good morning. When are we going to stop being insanity? Insanity in caps and at least 6 exclamation marks after it. There is no such thing as marital rape. 1, you cannot rape yourself. 1 married, you become 1. Once married, you become 1. Okay. 2, after all is said and done, there will be no spouse who will complete the process of prosecution. Well, I don't know if you can say that. I don't know if you can. Anyway, yes, that's your thing. The pastor's also telling the wife she can take it also. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. If you want to be taken.
So I mean,
if you want to be taken.
Does that
If
count
you
as
don't
endorsement?
want to be taken, you can't take it.
So does that count as endorsement from the
It's
church?
pretty simple.
That sounds like endorsement from the church.
Sounds like a lot of things to me, but anyway. This is back to what you were saying earlier about. This is all part of the problem right here about the sheep and what you saw at the Agri Expo. And I said if I saw someone slaughtering a sheep, I would probably immediately become vegan. Mm-hmm. And so this person says, "Oh, you can't seeing a sheep get slaughtered? Well, give me the knife. I'll do it myself."
You know, that's actually also linked. Persons who find joy in watching that are actually linked to becoming psychopaths, actually, and murderers.
You don't have to tell me that.
There's actually research on that.
At this point, we just need to abolish marriage, but I'm not condoning rape. See, the extremes aren't helpful either, right? That's not necessary.
But that's why a lot of persons aren't getting married, though. Because we don't know the abuses some people have actually experienced. Again, the numbers on sexual assault simply don't exist to the levels that we know them to be.
And yet they're very high already.
Again, please talk to the crisis center. Please. And then if you do not understand why certain things will not be publicized or certain persons will not come forward, then you are not mature enough to be having this conversation. I'm so sorry. That's the long and short of it.
This person says here, the problem is we have too many men with a rapist mentality in power. Whoa.
Preach.
Wow. That's rough. In the church and in government. But a bigger issue is women in power being silent. What's the point of electing female leaders if they don't fight for women's rights?
If you were the minority in a particular space, and we see that across our society, in our businesses, in our homes, in our churches, in our civic organizations, then the minority hardly ever speaks against the majority. That's why you need more of those persons in position, or they need more power so that they can feel more secure to do or say what they need to or feel empowered to. It's not just in politics, it's all around.
Wow. This person says here, this marital rape law will never happen in this country. It's unpopular and successive governments find it too controversial, even though this government promised when coming into office to confront and address this issue.
You know what somebody told me once before, Dwight? And this was a very pessimistic person. They were like, promises were made to be broken. I don't like that.
Well, yeah. This person says, it seems like those that are pushing marital rape have never been married, don't want to be married, and want to be married to the same sex. Okay. That's dumb. That's pretty dumb. But anyway,
I mean, not when you make it look so attractive by telling me that my husband has the right to take me, to rape me whenever he wants. For those of us who may be married or unmarried.
You become his tings.
His things. Because he got papers. He could do that.
It's sad to say, but these callers are exposing themselves. These callers are exposing themselves for the same reasons why so many young Bahamian women have refused to marry Bahamian men.
Exactly. And then the flip side to that is, because I've also experienced this myself too, maybe shouldn't say that because that's because it fuels the fire, as to why persons will actually say you need to find a foreign man because a Bahamian man is not going to accept it. You know what it is to, first of all, when a woman actually thinks that, my husband doesn't have the right to abuse me? Oh, I do have intelligence that I'm able to infuse in my daily life? Really?
There are thousands of Bahamian men who understand that. Thousands. Unfortunately, the thousands who don't understand that. But
y'all talk to people who don't understand because they don't listen to women. They only listen to you.
They won't listen either. Dwight, you and Deandra need to get married to each other and stop all this talking and find out what married people go through.
You think so? So if we were to say that only those who have experienced certain things can talk on a subject, I mean...
boy, this is another one here. All Bahamians are good for is gossiping and indulging nonsense. No wonder the politicians are killing you all with poverty. I don't know where that text comes from, but okay, thank you for it.
They're trying to defuse the situation.
Is that what
Thank
it
you,
is?
Texter. Thank you.
Okay.
Let's keep our eyes on the prize.
This is another one here. These are randoms. What's going on? We are a nation of habitual runners of red lights who espouse the virtues of the rule of law.
I like that. Is it a metaphor? Is that what it is? They say we break the littlest of laws. So of course, they can break any type of law. That's what it is. But we say we should hold the laws when we break it.
Good morning, Dwight. These payment people are crazy this morning. I'm with you on this matter. You must not be married.
That's one
you
person.
You must not be married. Okay.
Listen, we gotta put out these wedding invitations, man.
There's a long one here. Unfortunately, what many of our attorneys are not being honest with the wider public about regarding marital rape is that there is an evidentiary threshold that is difficult to overcome in such cases. That's with all rape cases. All rape cases, right? This is where definition under the applicable statute is crucial. This is a lot of legal talk here. Because it needs to be clearly defined what level of sexual contact within a marriage constitutes an offense of rape that can hold up in court based on evidence. Otherwise, such cases will devolve into a he said, she said scenario in which one party claims that consensual relations have occurred, but the other party says otherwise. That sounds like most rape cases. That's how it is. Yes. When you know each other. Anyway, they go on. It is, of course, easier to make that distinction where there are obvious physical injuries, but there already exist criminal offenses of battery and grievous bodily harm under which convictions can more easily be secured. Perhaps we need to revisit the penalties under these offenses to make it even easier to achieve convictions for such offenses in the context of what may otherwise be considered consensual sexual relationships. Well, I don't know if that makes if that's something that people should be thinking about just because it's going to be difficult to prove something. We should not have a law to make it illegal. That's very dangerous. That's very dangerous. Well, we will never be able to convict anybody on it, so let's just make it legal. We are doing that with some other things, but I don't know if you want to do it when it comes to people's bodies.
Let's put it on the books and see what happens. How about that? Let's take that approach. We have more examples of our laws failing across the board, so let's just add this one to it. No?
All right. So this is a texter. As a married woman, now you could just be texted that. We don't know if it's true. But anyway, as a married woman, I wish the lawmakers would drop this marital rape foolishness. 30 years ago, I could have claimed marital rape because I got pregnant during a divorce case. I did not claim rape. Well, you would have been able, if you were separated legally and you were right, that's when it does work. The law allows for that. But anyway, let's continue with your text. I did not claim rape. I now have a 29-year-old handsome son who's a doctor. Stay out of God's business. Tell the government to go and enforce the law on capital punishment instead. I'm going to send this text to a psychologist because something's not quite right. I don't think you're understanding. Anyway, okay. Well, thank you. I'm glad your son is doing well. Wow. This person here, you are asking why married men don't come out. That was absolutely weak. Why is your guest so invested if she's not married? She's a tool being used for others. No, it wasn't weak. If you think that was weak, then it's the same. I said that in response to a texter who says, why don't the married women come forward? So that proves the point, right? That's silly. That's very silly. Anyway, it's obvious most of us don't want this bill. Now what? Do you still try to force it on us? You need to think about why it is that you don't want it. Are you saying that you want the right to rape your spouse, or you don't believe it's a thing? If you don't believe it's a thing, then you have no reason to be worried. But there are people who are being abused in all manner of ways by their spouses. We know this. If your marriage, your relationship is perfect, you have nothing to worry about. What's your issue? Which one is it?
I'm confused.
This person says here, I'm opposed to any husband forcing himself on his wife. I'm also opposed to sexual defraudment in marriage. If wives have recourse in the courts for what they consider rape, then justice demands husbands have recourse in the courts for sexual defraudment, which is also a sin in marriage. Okay. Yes, so fight for no-fault divorces. Fight for that. That needs to be a thing. We need to amend these antiquated laws that we have here. Right? This person says, I recall getting a taxi ride a few years ago and engaging in a conversation with the driver. Somewhere along the way, the man says to me, if your husband wants some, just give it to him. It's only a few minutes. He had a hard day. I was like a cockroach when the light suddenly gets turned on. What's going on? The church needs to start preaching that while it's a good thing to find a mate, as Paul said, it's better to be alone in the corner of a rooftop than to be miserable. Young men and women need to learn to be comfortable first with themselves, so neither gets married under societal pressure or for frivolous reasons like regular meals or free sex. Then we won't have these sex slave... what is happening? Sex slave because I have papers conversations, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Wow. A couple more messages before we have to take a break here. This person says, just legalize polygamy.
I'm just saying, how many men are actually able to financially, mentally, spiritually take care of multiple wives? But it does not negate the fact that the issue is still present in any one or multiple marriages. Mm-hmm. It's not the number of marriages, it's what you're doing inside your marriage.
Okay. I know the children in the carpet. Let's read this. Y'all here talking, but some women would reveal they actually want to be taken by force.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh my God. Texter, if you don't understand the difference, this is why we have a problem, right? So that's not rape. If that's not rape, that's something else. And so that's not anybody's problem. Do you not get it?
What a flip.
You said, what?
Wow.
But you need to find out if that's what your spouse wants. And that's between the two of you. If that's not what they want, but you're thinking some women do want it, so you probably are one of those, you're looking for trouble. Wow. But that seems like that's what children know these things, right? This child doesn't like to play like this, so I'm not going to do this. Who are we dealing with here? 2-year-olds. That's what it seems like. That married woman who texted needs to get her head screwed on straight. Sorry, I'm seeing. Unmarried women who are victims of rape can also have children whom they love. The beautiful child does not justify the rape or make the rape God's design. Yes, absolutely, Texter. Since rape is unwanted, forceful sex, unmarried or married, undeniably it appears that those in opposition of making marital rape a criminal offense must be perpetrators themselves, rapists or would-be rapists. This debate is tired. You better believe it, and tiresome. I am exhausted. Anyway, a couple more. This person says, to the individuals that say you can't rape yourself because two are one flesh, I ask, can you stab or physically abuse or harm yourself? Should we throw out addressing any form of physical violence just because individuals are married? I don't pretend to have answers, but I have to acknowledge that we have to create avenues to protect all vulnerable individuals. To that point, I would like to see very clear burdens of proof to protect against false claims and penalties for them. Falsely accused aggressors can be victims as well. The problem is difficult, yes, but that doesn't mean we turn a blind eye to it. Absolutely, that's a great text. Thank you for that. It's proving marital rape is nearly impossible. Please explain how marital rape would be proven. It is funny, all of this equality talk, and then assume only men will be able to commit marital rape. Nobody is saying that at all. Where did you hear that? Where did you hear that? It's all spousal rape. All. Come on. Married women serve two purposes, taking care of home and bearing children. No such thing as equality. Men and women never could be equal.
Yo.
So if unmarried people shouldn't speak about married people, should men stop talking about women's rights and making decisions for women? You know the answer. And this final text here. Great show as usual. No, government will deal with the marital rape situation. They would deal with hanging first, and we are not going to see that happen. Yeah. All right. So we're not making any progress on this matter. We're still where we are. The same arguments that we saw from the beginning of this show 12 whole years ago, still coming back over and over and over again. And this is the most unpleasant merry-go-round in the whole carnival circus show.
Listen, I'm tired of I'm tired of it, and I've only been doing it professionally for over a decade now. But beyond that, there are women who have been fighting this fight for longer than I've been alive, and the fact that there are still persons who resist even educating themselves about this, it's just so heartbreaking.
Wow. Hey, we're going to take a break. We're going to change gears and get away from this. Thankfully, we're going to go desperately.
We need the break.
We're so thankful for our guests this morning. We'll be back. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
You heard that I was starting over with someone new. They told you I was moving on over you. You didn't think that I'd come back swinging. You tried to break me, but you see what.
Make Mother's Day one to remember with a delightful Mother's Day brunch valued at $300 courtesy of Haagen-Dazs and Fun Foods Wholesale. It's simple. Just head over to Lickety Split or Super Value locations and purchase a pint of your favorite Haagen-Dazs ice cream for just $8.99. After purchasing, don't forget to write your full name and number on the back of your receipt and drop it into any entry box at the store. You're now in the running for our grand prize drawing, taking place on May 10th. Hurry, this offer ends soon. Happy Mother's Day from Haagen-Dazs. Promotion ends May 8th.
Wherever you're headed, the Custom Computers Know-How team is standing by to help guide you in the East and the West. We now have 2 convenient locations on Patton Street in Palmdale and our newest store in the Caves Village Shopping Plaza through the Blake Road entrance. Discover the latest products by top international brands and the knowledge you need to unleash tomorrow's technology today. Drop by Custom Computers out east or out west. We're open Saturdays from 10 till 4.
The signs are clear. It's time to pay less for your current mortgage by switching to Scotiabank. Enjoy lower interest rates and no payments up to 2 months when you switch to Scotiabank today. Plus, we'll even pay your switch costs. It's that easy. Ready to switch to Scotiabank? Call us today at 242-356-1697 or visit bs.scotiabank.com to switch your mortgage to become mortgage-free faster.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new
Here's to the go-getters, the early risers, and the late-night dreamers. You, the visionaries, painting futures in your mind, in your studio, your office, your sacred space. Here's to the adventurers, explorers of every realm. To you, the innovators, turning the cogs of progress. In a world where connection is a lifeline, a pathway to possibilities. Alive is the perfect connection for everyone, every lifestyle, every day.
Visit bealive.com today.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
To get my story straight, my friends are in the bathroom getting higher than the Empire State. My lover, she is waiting for me just across the bar. My seat's been taken by some sunglasses, asking about a scar. And I know I gave it to you months ago. I know you're trying to forget, but between the drinks and subtle things, the holes in my apologies, you know, I'm trying hard to take it back. So if by the time the bar closes and you feel like falling down, I'll carry you home tonight. We are young, so let's set the world on fire. We can burn brighter than the sun tonight.
And we are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan, along with the Andrew Cartwright. And as promised, we are changing gears. We're talking about Lyford Key International School and so many exciting things happening with them. They are going to share that with us. Very pleased to have with us Marketing, Advancement, and Communications Director O'Neill Bain, along with University Counsellor Dr Michèle Mindorff. And we have the head of the lower school, Isadora Blyden, with us this morning. Everybody, great to have you with us. Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
All right, so let's begin with the school. Tell us about, for those who might not be familiar with it, Lyford Key International School, how long it's been around now, and give us some details about how it's set up.
Okay, so Life for Key International School has been around since 1962, so we're celebrating 61 years of existence here in the Bahamas. We are the only four-program international baccalaureate school in the Caribbean, and we are only one of 55 schools in the world that actually have that level of IB authorization. So we can offer the primary years program, the middle years program, the diploma program, and the career-related program. We're also an accredited school, so we're accredited by the Council of International Schools and the New England Association of Schools and Colleges. It puts us into a very small and elite group of schools around the world, and there's only 2 other schools in the Bahamas that have that accreditation, and we're the only one with that accreditation on the western side of the island. So we're very proud of the memberships and authorizations that we have. We have a vibrant student body. Very diverse, with 45 nationalities represented across our students, faculty, and staff. And we are proud to offer a rigorous curriculum alongside exciting extracurricular activities for our students, where we really focus on the whole child and developing leadership, confidence in students, and allowing them to reflect on their learning and also develop their passions along the journey. So we go from 18 months old all the way up to 18 years.
Wow. Wow, that's impressive. What's the student population now? How many students do you have?
We're about 400 students currently.
Okay, right. So that's a small group, manageable. So class sizes are...
Right. So we have a faculty-to-student ratio of 1 to 7. Mm-hmm. So students get one-to-one attention. The classes are quite small. It allows us to know every child and really develop a relationship with their family. And like I said, work on their strengths and helping them reach their learning goals and have a good view of where they're going.
Yeah, wow. All right, so it's not too late to get in for the upcoming school year.
Right, so part of what we want to share is just that our admissions cycle for the 2024-2025 school year is nearing its end, but there are still seats available in most grades. So we want families to take advantage of the opportunity to access this world-class education right here in the Bahamas. We know that more and more Bahamians are considering schools abroad for their children, but that could be from a lack of awareness of the outstanding results that our school has achieved over many years, and the fact that your child can, attend university at some of the top schools in the world, or follow their passions in sports and other areas right at Life for Key International School. And so we encourage people to reach out, visit our website at www.lcis.bs, or contact our admissions office at admissions@lcis.bs, book a tour, learn more about our school, and give your children the opportunity to thrive and be a part of our community.
Yeah. And you've had a whole string of successes. We'll get back to that in a bit. But let's begin with Isadora Blyden, head of the lower school. Let's talk about that and about what sets Life for Key International School apart from other schools on the island and in the country.
Okay, so first of all, the lower school comprises of our preschool, which is our 18-month-old students, all the way to grade 6. And on the lower school, when we start at preschool, our focus really is on play-based learning. And so our children learn through what is natural for them. They learn through play, and they learn to build the foundations of an IB education through that scope. And at the core of an IB education is what we call the learner profile, which are 10 habits of mind that we want to instill in our children. So they learn to be communicators, they learn to be risk takers, they learn to be principled, they learn to be balanced, among others. And the children engage in their environment. So in addition to the teacher teaching children, they also learn through their environment, and they're able to build some soft skills through their interactions in play and to develop their creativity, their inquiry through play. And so as young as 18 months, they're learning what it means to communicate. They're learning what it means to self-manage. They're learning what it means to research. And all of this happens really within a collaborative working environment. So our 18-month-old students are learning to collaborate with one another and to work with one another. And that transcends through grade 6, which is on the lower campus, even though it's a part of the middle years program. And so our students are active participants in their learning. They help to drive their learning. Their interests, their passions are taken into account. And so because of the small classes that Mr. Bain spoke about, we have the ability to create individualized learning plans for our students and to get to know each of them as learners. As a school, Lyford Key School promises to differentiate instruction, and by doing that, it is creating an individualized learning plan for them. And so they are learning, first of all, about the local environment and then going global. And that is something that makes a PYP, primary years program education, distinct, is that our students learn what it means to be part of a global community, and that they are participants in this, that they help to grow and to keep our environment safe. In addition to being an IB school, we're also an eco-friendly school. So our children learn about not only taking care of themselves, but about being responsible global citizens. And technology is a huge component of the primary years program at Lyford Key School. So very early on, our students also learn what it means to be a digital citizen, a responsible digital citizen. Okay.
Oh, man. These are all the things that we desperately need from all of our citizens in the country. Yes. Sounds wonderful. All right, so Dr. Mindorff, let's talk about, with this amazing foundation, I'm sure there's so many opportunities, especially when you're looking at university. Let's talk about that and how this makes the transition so much easier.
Absolutely. We're a university preparatory school, so all of the classes our students take in 11 and 12 are IB diploma classes. But as Ms. Blyden spoke about, we differentiate. So the International Baccalaureate and their 4 programs has the student at the center. So we take students from where they come to us and move them along as far as they can. So while they're in IB diploma classes, they are achieving as far as they can go. So in terms of university preparation, as I said, we are an academic preparatory school, but you cannot be academically ready if you're not mentally and spiritually ready as well. So we also focus on character education and motivation. So we never assume when our students come into 11 and 12, or in fact into high school, that they have all the skills, attitudes, concepts, knowledge necessary for success. So we're constantly scaffolding and de-scaffolding, going backwards and forwards, making sure that the students are ready for what they're about to face. And as Ms. Blyden said, helping the students find their passion and take ownership of their own learning. So through the university process, which begins in grade 9, but in earnest in grade 10 when they start choosing their courses in grade 11 and 12 and the pathway that they want to follow. As Mr. Bain said, we're one of 55 schools in the world to offer 4 IB programs. 3 of those are in the upper school. So students can choose the full IB diploma, which is the gold star of university preparation. It just opens those doors to the most competitive universities around the world. Students can also take the IB career-related program, where it's allowing students to focus on their career interest. So if they're aware that they want to be a sailor, a captain of a boat, a pilot, a coach, they can take our IB diploma courses, but then they can also focus a bit more on that practical aspect and come out with multiple designations. And they can also take just some diploma courses. So all of our graduates have an American-style high school diploma, number 1, and then they'll have one of the 3 different IB options. So those are all data points that are recognized around the world. So we have a 100% pass rate at our school since 2019. And our approach is that if you are motivated and of average intelligence, and the key is motivated, we can get you through if you want to get through that.
This is for the IB program pass rate?
The IB diploma program pass rate, that's right.
Wow.
And in terms of university selection process, we are never going to say no to shooting for the stars, but we also want students to find their passion. So looking at every different option of school available. And I strongly encourage our students when they're traveling, starting from the beginning of high school, to go and look at the different universities to find the right fit. What we know universities want is students to apply to schools to which they know they're not only going to succeed, but enjoy and thrive. And the university landscape has changed significantly since COVID. So universities are very carefully giving offers only to students they know who really want to be there. So doing deep research, and the students being charged, as Ms. Blyden had said, all our programs focus on agency. So the students have to do the work, and they have to make sure that it's not only a good academic fit for them, but going back to what I said before, a good spiritual fit and a good well-being fit as well. So we've just had acceptances from St. Andrews, Edinburgh, London School of Economics, Groningen, Erasmus, engineering at Queen's and University of Toronto, engineering at University of British Columbia, business at the University of Toronto, just quite a wide range of universities around the world, Texas A&M, Wake Forest. And we stress that students should try to focus on their first choice, but their first choice can change over the course of the time that they're looking. Oftentimes we know students say, I want to go to the Ivies or to where my cousin got in or where they have the best football team, but we stress, what do you want to study? What does the program require of you? And are you going to find your people there? We know students are more successful if they're involved in collaborative type groups, singing groups, soccer teams, football teams, anything that helps them feel like they belong. And we begin that process at Lyford Key. So we make sure our students feel comfortable and that they're challenged as far as they can go, but not too far beyond what they're capable of. And lastly, that they belong.
Yeah. All right. So I guess anybody can answer this, but I mean, so what sets an IB school, the program, apart from some of the other schools here that don't necessarily offer that? Well, what are some of the main benefits? I think based on what you've said already, we can hear some of those, but tell us a little more about that.
Okay. So when I think of the younger students, the transdisciplinary nature of our program, where children learn across the academic subjects and also into the specialist subjects it's embedded in. And so having that holistic approach to their education makes a big difference. The student agency part of it is also something that sets an IB education apart, where the education is individualized for our children. As Dr. Mindorff shared, when you think of an IB education and you look at a wheel that's presented from an IB, at the core, at the center is the learner. So we're always looking at what matters for that student. And then another component is that it is concept driven. So it's not just inundating our students with content, but they learn about concepts which are broader, big picture topics that they are able to start locally and extend. And so as a diverse international population, children learn about things that are happening in the Bahamas. So if they're talking about governments, then they learn about governments here, but then they extend it to other parts of the world. Those, for me, are things that make an IB education distinct, and the confidence that children develop because they know that they are valued as a part of the learning process.
Yeah. Wow. O'Neill, you were going to add something? No? Okay. Dr. Mindorff?
I will add, we do a service activity with Rotary 14 Saturdays a month, and our former principal, Dr. David Mindorff, was one of the leads on this. And his approach was to demonstrate what the IB does to help students understand what they're doing, why they're doing it, and how they're doing it, and to understand the real-world application. And this past Saturday, we had our Adelaide students, 5th and 6th grade students, and we taught them reaction time. And there was a simple experiment with holding a ruler and at the end seeing how quickly the student could catch the ruler, and then we graphed that. So we showed them a variety of scientific points, but then we took that concept that Ms. Blyden talked about, they learned, and they played basketball. So in real time, they understood the importance of reaction time, but they also learned the scientific process of collecting, being a mini scientist. So that, I would say, is one of the key things that distinguishes the IB education from other systems is its inquiry, student-driven inquiry, and the students must understand what they're doing, why they're doing it, how they're doing it, and how it applies to the real-world setting.
Yeah, well, all right. So, of course, people are asking, this sounds fantastic, but who can afford a Life for Key International School education? I'm sure that comes up a lot. What do you say to that?
Yeah, so I would say, firstly, we always start with Life for Key International School, that we're a nonprofit school. So when parents look at our tuition fees, they would understand that, like many of the top independent schools around the world, the bulk of the revenue that the school gets from its tuition fees goes back into hiring top teachers. So that's why we're able to have, top Bahamian teachers, top international teachers at our school, adding to the quality of the curriculum. And really, what's left after that is like operational costs for the school, and a few other like administrative costs. So what really helps the school go beyond that as a nonprofit is the fundraising that we do in our school community. But included in the tuition that the parents pay at our school, there are a lot of add-ons that don't exist at other schools that they should keep in mind. So we have a very vibrant co-curricular program that offers about 50 activities per semester. Students can sign up for at most 2 per season. So that means basically at least 2 days out of the week, students will be able to take part in something that they're passionate about after school, completely included in the tuition costs. So parents don't have to go back into their pockets to find funds for those after-school activities. There's also a miscellaneous student activity account that they get included with the tuition of $150 per year, which rolls over. From grade 5 to 12, we have an off-island field trip that's related to the curriculum that all students participate in. That's already built into the tuition, so we don't come back to parents for funds for those off-island field trips. We also don't have additional fees for books, technology fees, lab fees, any of those things that you might see at other schools. They're all a part of the single tuition that parents pay. So we think that when that is considered, it is a lot more feasible for families. However, we also have a very robust tuition assistance program, which has grown tremendously in the last 5 years. So that contributes to a significant number of Bahamian families gaining access to this world-class education through the support that the program provides. So awards through that program can range from as small as 10% all the way up to 100%. And so it's really looking at a family's unique financial situation, at the makeup of their family, how many children are part of the family, what other costs that the family might incur. And it's a completely third-party application process that parents would go through, extremely confidential. So again, if a family is looking to have their children access, this world-class education right here in the Bahamas, we would encourage them not to let finances be what limits them from inquiring or at least submitting an application, coming and seeing the campuses. Because, like I said, we're all about ensuring that the education is accessible to people in this country across the board.
Okay. And LCIS seems to be on a hot streak. You've had a number of successes recently. Let's talk about this. This may take up the whole show.
I just have to interject here. This is not recent.
Okay, sorry.
This has been constant with Life for Key International School.
Okay.
I've been there for 27 years, so I speak about history.
Okay.
So you may just be
right.
aware of
We're
it.
hearing more and more now.
Mr. Bain, tell more about that, but I just needed to correct that.
Okay, I stand corrected.
I think that definitely is a good point to raise. It's our strong track record has extended over many years. And while some people believe this is our first time trying some of the things that we're excelling at, it's really not. So obviously one of them is Junkanoo. We were really excited to once again come first in our category in the Junior Junkanoo Parade.
Which category was that again?
all school.
It was the all-age category.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
and this was I think our fourth win, really, throughout our years of participation in Junkanoo. So that was a very exciting experience. You know, it really involved our entire school community, again, parents, students, staff, pasting into the wee hours of the night over many weeks as we prepared for the parade. And what we ended up displaying on Bay Street was really incredible, and we're still reflecting on that win. I know Ms. Blyden was a big part of that, so she's very proud. But also, you know, we've had students have achievements in many other areas. So we've had 4 students and 1 alum actually participate in the Carifta Aquatic Championships that happened recently. So they were on the national team. One of those students also won a bronze medal for the Bahamas during that event. We have had amazing performances so far in the BAISS football season for this year. We are the current national champions for senior boys, and we just made the playoffs. So we're looking to defend that title in the playoffs this week. Our senior girls have also made the playoffs. So we're looking forward to their performances there. We've had students have outstanding performances in the National School Golf Championships, in the Caribbean Equestrian Association, the Junior Sailing Championships. One of our unique programs is our sailing program, and we've had students doing very well across different classes of boats that for several years now. But really, some of the top sailors in the country attend our school, and their skills were developed as part of the sailing program that we have at LCIS. Our students have been traveling for soccer to Jamaica, to Cayman Islands, coming within the top 2 teams in both of those countries when they traveled. In addition to participation in BISS track and field, one of our students just had a third placement and a 5th place in the under 17 and under 20 women's 1,500 meters and women's 3,000 meters. And I think she's 10. So she was actually competing in a much more rigorous category, but still was able to come third in the 3,000. So we're really looking at, like I said, the development of the whole child across our school. In addition to the co-curricular program, which I said is included in the tuition, we do have an elite and developmental sports program for athletes who are really trying to go to the next level. And we offer that program in soccer, swimming, golf, equestrian, and help me out, and sailing would be the sports that students can participate in. So you would find that a student may be going to dance or classes on Mondays and Wednesdays, then they'll go to swimming on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then they'll be playing for the national football team on Friday, and yet still getting into top universities around the world. We really focus on having well-rounded young people who go out into the world and make the world a better place. Our vision is educating the leaders of tomorrow. So we really have a passion for the place that we're in as well. So obviously, I'm a Bahamian, Ms. Blyden is a Bahamian, Dr. Mindorff is a Canadian, but honorary Bahamian. So, you know, we really, we value our diversity. You know, working in an environment with 45 nationalities represented is an incredibly enriching experience. But we also love the country that we're in, and we know that education is the key to the future for young people. And so we want to ensure that families, you know, reach out and learn how they can access these opportunities for their own children.
I don't know if you mentioned the spelling bee. Did you?
Well, yes, that's right. So the list is long, but yes, Arab Balani was actually the national spelling bee winner, following in the line of Roy Seligman, who was the national spelling bee winner several times. So
4 years.
Yes, so we're looking forward to Arab heading to Scripps and wishing him all the best as he continues to prepare. But like I said, there's a lot of amazing things going on at Life for Key School, so we encourage families to reach out, learn more, visit our website. Like I said, it's www.lcis.bs. Or you can contact our admissions team at admissions@lcis.bs and just inquire to learn more.
And when's the deadline? The last possible
So
moment
we
for
actually
you?
have rolling admissions, which means that we will continue to take students as long as there's space in the grade that they're applying for. So that's why I was saying to you, there are grades with space remaining for 2024, 2025. We don't know how much longer that will continue. So that's why it's really an important time for families to reach out and see if they can begin the process. Obviously, there will be some things that they'll need to do, submit documentation, For applicants who are going into grade 1 or higher, they will need to complete an assessment. And then for students in grades 6 or higher, they will need to come to campus also for an interview. So there are a lot of components that go into it, but we're willing to support families all along the way. They can always ask questions as they're completing their application. So the sooner you start, the better, because then that way, we'll be able to get back to you with an offer. And like I said, the tuition assistance program goes hand in hand with the application process. And so families who are interested in that can apply for that program at the same time.
All right, someone's asking if there's an application fee as well?
So our application fee across the board is $250. And then, like I said, if families want to complete the tuition assistance application, then that would be a separate portal that they would be given access to.
Wonderful. One more time, the website?
So the website is www.lcis.bs. That's for Lyford Key International School.
Okay, thank you very much. O'Neill Bain, Isadora Blyden, and Dr. Michèle Mindorff. Thank you all for being here. Keep up the great work that you're doing at Lyford Key International School. Thank you for sharing that. Great information. All right, we're going to take a break and be back with Morning Blend Business in just a bit here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
There's only one blow and one rider. I'm a damn shame, order more champagne, pull a damn hamstring, trying to put it on ya. Let your lips
This
back
is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas. 9 FM, fresh news, smart talk, all day.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Monday, April 15th, 2024. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Deandra Cartwright today. And this morning we are kicking off something exciting. We are partnering with the Central Bank of the Bahamas to bring you Harborside Chats with the Governor. Central Bank Governor John Rolle becoming the host and taking and having these discussions, key important discussions that started last month, and we're going to bring them to you. And today,
he's also going to be featuring the other governors.
In this one, he is featuring 3 previous governors: James Smith, Julien Francis, and Wendy Craigg, and they are going to be talking about some of the interesting things that have happened during their tenures as central bank governor. So we want you to listen to it, part 1 today, and then we'll have part 2 tomorrow. And again, the topic is the evolution of central banking, challenges and lessons.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting, particularly with the central banks throughout the Caribbean recently coming together in their annual meetings. And so it'll be curious just to learn more about the evolution of our own central bank.
Yeah. So take a listen to Harborside Chats with the Governor.
Hello and welcome. I'm Governor John Rolle, and thank you for joining our Harborside Chats. This series is one of the initiatives of the Central Bank of the Bahamas to increase public knowledge and understanding of central bank developments, the Bahamian economy, and changes in the global financial landscapes. We'll be having discussions with key industry stakeholders, partners, and standard setters. And we trust that you will find these discussions informative and thought-provocative. We are launching these Harborside Chats as the central bank begins to celebrate its 50th anniversary of establishment as an institution in an independent Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And there's no better way to get started than by convening with 3 of our former governors. And I'm joined today, first of all, with Mr. James Smith, Governor Smith, who served as governor during the 1980s and into the 1990s. And his tenure was followed by Governor Julien Francis, who was with us up until the middle of the 2000, and Governor Wendy Craigg, who served in the role until the mid-teens. So, Governors, it's a pleasure to have you all with us today.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor.
So we want to get started by thinking about your path in coming to the role of governor. You each took a different journey in terms of your careers through the private versus the public sector. And we want to know whether that shaped your preparation in any way. I'll start with you, Governor Francis. I think you were in the private sector before coming to the central bank. How did that help you settle into your role?
Well, I don't think that there's any doubt certainly not in my mind, that my formation in the commercial banking sector was critical to my being able to grapple with the role of governor in all of its dimensions. But I have to say, I learned so much, while I was on the job. Because as no doubt you know, of course, this is such a multifaceted responsibility, and inevitably anybody who comes to it can't be fully prepared, I would say. So, yeah, my experience in the commercial banking sector was quite important.
And you, Governor Smith, you were in public sector. How did that help us?
Well, I think I've got to go back a little further. When I came out of high school, I actually worked for a trust company. And turned out, in fact, I wouldn't do it in the summers even when I went to university. And it turned out the chairman of the trust company was actually the first chairman of the Monetary Authority, which evolved into the central bank. And I had a kind of a glimpse from that, not so much banking, but from the trust, what was happening in the economy. And more so, during one of my stints with this trust company, the new chairman was a former finance minister of Canada, working here in the Bahamas, and he used to call me and quite frequently, because I went to school in Canada, we were chats. So it gave me kind of a different view. And then following that, I ended up in the Ministry of Finance as a permanent secretary. And one of my duties was liaison with the central bank. And at the time, it was sort of, from my point of view, I saw tension between the central bank, what it was doing with the Ministry of Finance. And I thought that the central bank was out of line, right? Because I in the Ministry of Finance, we want to spend money, and they're telling us no. And I said, how can they tell us this? So there was, in between. And then I began to realize the importance of having an outside institution that had a lot more respect than, government agency who were able to exercise that influence. And it was a way of specifically, I think, controlling government expenditure from the outside. And they would say things like, if you spend too much, a lot of foreign currency would flow out of the country, and the one-to-one relationship could be lost. So you have to be careful, Galva. So in a way, and in a very peculiar way, we have a form of a governance, I guess, over the Ministry of Finance without having the legal authority to govern it. And I think that's important to even today, because the idea of a one-to-one relationship between the American dollar and the Bahamian dollar is ingrained in our DNA. And any political order that is in charge, and when that is broken, you might have people burning tires in the streets, as we see in some of the developing countries.
Thank you. Very interesting. I wonder, Governor Craigg, you worked your way through central bank for quite a while in your career, and then you ascended to the role of governor. You were also the first, and today, the only female in that role. What was that journey like for you?
Right. Well, I joined the central bank in 1978, and it was immediately following my completion of my undergraduate degree. And because I did economics, I really wanted to work at the central bank because I thought that was the place that I could most use this degree. And so when I was able to obtain employment, it was a dream come true for me. And being placed in the research department really gave me the opportunity to discover how the Bahamian economy operated. And we were involved. We were writing papers, producing reports, interfacing with even the fiscal. We had a lot to do. At that particular time, it was a central bank that really produced all of the reports on the fiscal situation. The government never really consolidated any information to provide to the public. It was through the research department that the debt information was made public, the government's fiscal accounts. And it was a time when you would find that even anyone wanting information would come to the central bank. So they thought we produced data, even inflation data. We didn't, employment data, we didn't produce it, but we were able to put all of this information together and inform the public about it. And so coming up through the ranks in the central bank, I also had the opportunity to work with all of the governors and being in research where the papers were prepared for decision-making and for policy consideration. We were able to, and I was able to participate in a lot of policy formulation. And so that prepared me well for being governor.
Yeah. I wanted to know, what advice would you offer to young ladies and females who might be aspiring to a career in central banking and rising up the ranks?
Well, there's one thing that I would say about working within the central bank. There's no glass ceiling for women. You hear about this glass ceiling that you cannot, move up to the top position. The central bank always respected what you brought to the table in terms of your abilities, your competence, and your willingness to work hard. So anyone out there, any female who is committed and has the ability to bring something to the table in terms of their knowledge and their experience, they can certainly hold the position as well.
Very encouraging. So just shifting gears a bit, I want to talk a bit about how we view the role of the central bank. We won't be able to cover everything, but the public has very diverse and often very strong views on how the central bank should operate. As an example, how do we deal with the service level and cost in domestic banking? And I'm curious, how should we be thinking about defining the central bank's assignment around how easy it is to do banking?
I think again, one of the most important elements of this is the connection you have with the banks in terms of using what they call moral suasion. If, for instance, the public is complaining about something and it's legitimate, you don't have to press, let's say, the government to pass laws which make reforms for the ease of doing business, etc. Your role then becomes really important as governor in the sense that you could say to them, these complaints we think are valid, official, and you need to do something about it. Of course, this goes sometimes conflict when they see us there marching on us from head office in Toronto or New York or London, who give them the sort of fluffy flowers. You have to mean these things. What they're doing might be in conflict with the developing plans locally. And so they may not even respond positively to you and your suggestions. But you also have a in the role because each year the head office comes to you, the chairman of the bank, etc., and you can make the same appeal to them to say that, look, we don't want to get in the trouble with local populace. If what they're suggesting makes sense. And sometimes you can get the change to be made with the least amount of friction as possible. And it makes your role as governor very important because no one, not even the political order, has the kind of access to the bank. And you also have access to the ones who work for the staff because some of them came for your training program. So I think it's a very important role. And it works best. I yes, the less people know about it.
I'll ask you the same question, Governor Santos. How do you view the central bank's assignment?
Well, I see the central bank as a resource which the people of the Bahamas, like obviously the government taking the lead, has put in place to, let's say, to advise on the evolution, the appropriate evolution of the economy of the Bahamas in a kind of very broad way. And the point I would like to make is that I would say that role has been changing. If you look back maybe over the last 25 years, we saw a central bank regulator which was overseeing a rather traditional delivery of banking services to the populace. But think about it. Today we see innovation which is taking place around us. And I would say, and Governor Rolle might not agree entirely with this, but I believe that the Central Bank of the Bahamas, and like other central banks actually, finds itself today in a position where it really has to try to keep pace with the evolution which is going on around it, which relates directly to what we used to call financial services, the ability of people to make payments, and so on. That has been rapidly changing. And now I think we see the Central Bank of the Bahamas, with the leadership of Governor Rolle, actually, in some instances, being on the forefront of, let's say, developing and advising on these innovations as to how our populace is served in the area of financial services very generally. So it seems to me that there's just 2 points. One, that the central bank is a resource which the Bahamas has at its disposal. Actually, it as Governor Craigg referred to a little bit, I would say, it is a rich resource of talent, training, people who have got particular skills, who have been exposed to this general area of economy. And that resource has been at work, helping this economy to evolve and to be, to keep pace with developments on the outside. And in some instances, I would say also being hopefully ahead of the curve in terms of those kinds of developments. I guess we'll have an opportunity to develop some of those ideas a little bit more as the conversation goes on.
So, Governor Craigg, I want to ask you the question slightly different, because a part of what we do is to make certain that people understand the framework in which the central bank or any public institution is operating. What would you consider to be, something about the way this economy works in the Bahamas that is important for Bahamians and others to understand if they're trying to chart or assess the work of the central bank?
I think there's, when you look at the public and the work that the central bank does to inform the public about what its responsibilities are, it's important to have more information out there, I think, on and to provide the public with information on what the central bank does, the reason why the central bank does it. I think you do a good job at putting this information in documents, but there has to be a way to communicate this across to the public. For example, I think the public has a view of the central bank about that the central bank can control fees and charges that the banks impose. And that's really not the case, but getting them to understand that there's an expectation that, hey, you can go and tell the banks, you cannot charge that, you cannot impose this fee, you cannot increase the fee. But the way the central bank dealt with it, I think it's important as well, because collating that information and providing it to the public so that they will have an indication as to, what exists out there, and they can be more informed in their banking choices, is a way that was very meaningful in addressing that. And certainly I believe you have an ombudsman situation now where you have someone that persons can go to if they have a complaint or against a matter within the financial services sector. So I think that they're both very useful ways that the central bank has assisted in that regard.
Coming out of your experience in the research department, you would recall the annual exercise of describing how the financial sector had performed, the annual banking survey, and the contrast that you drew between international financial services and the domestic sector. Do you have any thoughts on where the central bank should be situated in terms of the performance of the international financial services sector?
Well, I think the central bank is doing quite a bit now. And if you look at, I think it was in 2010 when the Act was amended to provide more focus on the central bank having responsibility for financial stability. There's an enormous body of work that was done by the central bank to advise that area. The whole bank supervision department developed around that. You recall years ago that bank supervision was one of the smaller departments in the bank. Now it has really grown, and they've taken on that responsibility, preparing various reports, doing various analysis. The whole area of looking at the stability of the bank's crisis management issues, that when it comes to the international banking sector, looking at stability issues. So the central bank has really developed in terms of in that area. And on the domestic side, when the Act was changed as well, there was a greater focus on payment systems. And the central bank was given explicit responsibility for ensuring the stability of the payment sector, so payment system. So that's an area that we've seen an enormous amount of work done by the central bank in developing that area to ensure that once the payment highway was developed with the RTGS, you could develop services and products that would aid the public in payments matters.
And let me see if I could ask the question slightly different. Governor Francis, when you joined the central bank, we went through a transition where we had to revamp all of the legislation to deal with the international standards. And I recall a very intense working session with the central bank and the Ministry of Finance and other stakeholders. How do you view the importance of that effort relative to the welfare of the sector?
Well, I think it's been critical. I mean, I cannot imagine that the Bahamas would have been able to maintain the credibility, which I believe, despite some of the little setbacks which we've experienced over the years, nevertheless, I would say that Bahamas continues to be recognized as a respectable, desirable financial center on the part of institutions and foreigners who, for example, want to have their wealth domiciled here. The central bank has been, as you know, critical in that process, both in terms of advising the government on the legislation which has been necessary over the time, as well as regulating the institutions which have wanted to be located in the Bahamas, as to how they can operate here, whether they can be here at all, who can run them, and those kinds of issues. Those are all things which are entirely critical to the, let's say, the quality of the financial center. And the central bank, I would say, without any doubt, has been the most important actor in this process.
Okay, so now I want each of you to answer this next question. We say a lot about this being a very small, open economy, and we talk about being vulnerable and being on the receiving end of shocks. And often people don't see the relatable examples. I want to start with you, Governor Smith. Is there an experience during your tenure that was a shock that you think emphasized the importance that you played in your role in the central bank?
Well, I think, first of all, I think we need to put it in context. Bahamas and its economy is defined by the relationship of its currency. Bahamians feel that their dollar is the same as the US dollar, and we promoted this ever since day one. Well, ever since we became dollarized. That's very important. They understand if they see a car for sale in the United States for $20,000, they have 20,000 Bahamian dollars. They don't even think in terms of whether it was going to do it. They knew to buy it with 20,000 Bahamians. So the central bank's role in defending that one-to-one relationship defines the rest of the economy or the business you're doing, and that sort of thing. Well, there was a time when I took over the bank when that was seriously threatened. And it was at around 1991. That was a global recession brought about by the increase in oil prices when Saddam invaded Kuwait. And of course, we know what happened subsequently to that. But oil prices went from about $80 per barrel to $90. Costs of airplane, fuel, etc., went up. Because I was the face of the bank, stopping business and that sort of thing, and stopping me from Christmas shopping. And I remember it's the only way you could have stopped it until it stabilized. And were that not to happen, maybe that set of policies, you would have lost so much foreign reserves and might have been unable to pay external obligations like the loans the government would have taken on behalf of the countries for a hospital, that sort of thing. And in like many of the islands in the south, IMF would come in to give us some money, but in exchange for that, we had to go through a program, maybe reduce the size of the public service, which would have caused other more problems. And so the point is the bank, without the bank, we would have been in a lot of trouble, and the bank had to step in and preserve the value of the currency, which is far more important to the Bahamians was than anything else. I mean, today it's very difficult for Bahamian to conceive that his dollar could only buy 50 cents worth of things in Miami. And that's why I think dismantling that relationship has to be done if it's to be done more very carefully, because the reaction would be indescribable.
So, Governor Francis, do you have any recollection of a difficult, challenging period?
Yeah. I mean, during my time as governor, we had the very aggressive imposition on the part of the developed countries led by the OECD to, let's say, force us to regulate the international banking sector here in ways that they prefer. And this actually was a very difficult time because we had to, we referred to it earlier, we had to introduce new legislation. We had to change the way many of the banks were able to operate and so on. So the central bank managed that process obviously in coordination with the government, with the Ministry of Finance. So that's the external sector, or the offshore sector. The other reference I would make is in the domestic sector, where we had a bank failure during my time. Gulf Union Bank was the name of that institution. was a small bank in relative terms, but, it was really amazing how impactful a bank failure could be on the domestic economy. People's ability to just carry on business as they had been doing before, because, maybe they had deposits in the bank and no longer could they have access to those deposits, so that they could not continue to honor their own obligations and so on. It really was quite a dramatic thing. And, that was the point at which we decided to introduce deposit insurance in our banking system in order to protect against this type of event. But I remember that extremely well. It was a very, very difficult, I would almost say traumatic time. There was quite a bit of backlash from the public, persons who lost deposits in that bank which failed. And in certain instances, Governor Smith referred to the fact that he might have been unpopular for certain things that, he had been perceived as being responsible for. Well, it's the same thing. People inevitably look to the governor and say, how did you allow this to happen? And so on. So those were the two examples. Those are the two examples, Governor Rolle, which I would point to during my time, which I think were particularly difficult.
Very interesting, because now we're doing a lot of new work around deposit insurance and wrapping it up into our approach to how we prepare to manage future crises. So it's been quite interesting looking back at that experience.
Absolutely.
I wonder, Governor Craigg, if there was an episode that you considered to be challenging similarly.
Yeah, I thought all of these happened during my tenure.
They continue.
They continue, right. I don't think any governor's tenure would be complete without one of these external shocks. And certainly for me, I believe I could say it was the 2008, 2009 financial sector crisis.
Oh, yeah.
It started out with a loosening, we had a loosening of supervision and regulation of the financial services sector in the U.S. You had the subprime debacle. You had the collapse of key institutions, the Lehman, that triggered a recession in the U.S. And because the U.S. economy was so, the financial services sector was so intertwined globally, it triggered recessions across the world. And for us, the impact would have come through the tourism and first of all, the tourism and the foreign investment channels, because we had a decline in tourism because the U.S. was in recession. Most of our tourists come from the U.S. We had foreign investments that were in the pipeline. They were placed on hold. And so domestically, we had an increase in unemployment, significant increase in unemployment. We had the government's fiscal situation that had challenges with revenue, where the deficit went up, I think, to over 5% of GDP. We had a situation where, because of the unemployment, the significant increase in unemployment, there were a number of job losses. So persons were unable to make their loan payments at the bank. And what happened there was the credit quality of banks deteriorated. The loan arrears went up, and that's a problem that persisted for many years subsequent to this period. The increase in the loan arrears. And of course, because of all of this created issues for foreign exchange inflows, a reduction in foreign exchange inflows, we had concerns about external stability in terms of the exchange, in terms of the external reserves. And back in those days, the government, we were able to get the government to fund a lot of its deficit in foreign currency. So the government was able to borrow in foreign currency to help prop up reserves. And I believe at that time as well, we had something, the IMF had stepped in and came up with this SDR allocation. that we got, I think it was less than 200 million, but it was a lot that added to the reserves. And of course, we had become a little bit more rigid in terms of our oversight of the banks, the domestic banks, in terms of bank supervision, setting up meetings with them, regular meetings with them to check on credit quality and the arrears. We came up with new reports, and they're still ongoing today, I believe, where we try to monitor to loan arrears of the banks. And so this was a very difficult period for us. And it created a lot of new, I guess, opportunities and needs within the bank supervision sector to have a closer oversight of the domestic banks, what they were doing, stress testing their balance sheets. So I would say that was the most challenging.
It's interesting because one of the things that, if you have questions that you would like to see me raise with my guest panelists, please send an email to haveasidechat@centralbankbahamas.com. Just remember, episodes of this series can be found on the bank's YouTube channel.
Okay, and that is part one. Part two is going to be tomorrow, Morning Glen Business. Harborside chats with Governor John Rolle and his guests, former governors James Smith, Julien Francis, and Wendy Craigg, on the evolution of central banking challenges and lessons. All right, we're going to take a break and be back with more, our final few minutes of Morning Glen Business here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Are you ready for the best of the best? Keep the Vibe Alive Music Group up for sound promotion, and Guardian Radio presents the best of the best Rake and Script Explosion Concert. Mark your calendars for May 11th as Super Club Breezes grounds ignite with Bahamian talent featuring KB, Gino D, Funky D, Veronica Bishop, The Brylanders, Avi, Elon Moxie, and Shine 242. Join the Falcons, Iron Store, Sylvie Pierre, Johnny Cake, Mama D, Nishi LS, Pat Rami, Stevie S, and Shad Colley and the VIPs for an electrifying night of music and culture. Tickets are flying, so grab yours now. Available online at BahamasEtickets.com or swing by the Beauty Shack on Soldier Road and Carmichael Road. This is the event of the year. The best of the best Rake and Scrape Explosion at Breezes Resorts. Gates open at 6 p.m. Don't miss out on the Bahamian magic.
Do you have uncontrollable debt? Are you ready to make that move to Fidelity for a stress-free future? These loans have a built-in savings plan that pays you unbeatable interest. Ask about our debt consolidation loans today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
All those loans I had were so overwhelming. Fidelity's debt consolidation loan combined all my loan payments into one easy payment with a built-in savings plan that pays me unbeatable interest. It's time to make that move to Fidelity. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
The excitement, the fierce competition, the entertainment. On May 4th and 5th, our Bahamian athletes will compete with hundreds of the best from around the world to secure their spot in the Paris Olympics.
Gardner takes the title.
Come witness history as our athletes chase the sun from paradise to Paris at the 2024 World Athletic Relays. May 4th and 5th at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium. Get your tickets now at worldrelaysbahamas24.org or at the Andre Rogers Baseball Stadium box office.
It's time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. IRCA, the Utilities Regulation and Competition Authority, has fined BTC more than $200,000 for violating IRCA's mobile number portability rules after finding that there were delays in BTC's porting requests. IRCA saying in a statement that this determination was reached after an in-depth investigation into complaints involving BTC and Alive number porting on November 25th and 26th, 2022. It said that mobile number portability is a critical service that allows consumers to retain their mobile telephone numbers when switching from one service provider to another. Under the Communications Act and subsequent IRCA determinations and orders, licensees are required to facilitate the process within specified timelines. It said such delays in the porting process undermine the effectiveness of this and negatively impacts consumers' ability to switch operators freely and benefit from competitive service offerings. IRCA said that it has given BTC 30 calendar days from the issuance of the fine on April 12th to pay the $209,487.91 fine. The regulator said if BTC fails to pay, the company could then be fined an amount not exceeding 10% of its relevant turnover. The Bahamas' strong compliance position in the world of global finance has bolstered credibility in the call for regulatory oversight of the financial service sector to be taken out of the hands of the OECD. According to Prime Minister Philip Davis, he said this is making the remarks while giving the opening address of the Financial Intelligence Unit's Money Laundering Reporting Officer Forum at the University of the Bahamas last week. You can read more about his comments in today's Guardian Business section. And Bahamas Society of Engineers President Quentin Knowles telling Guardian Business that the wave of project announcements and construction starts that began in 2022-2023 after the COVID pandemic has died down. It's not exactly that the bottom has fallen out, but he says compared to a year ago, it has cooled off a bit. More on that in today's Guardian Business section as well. And Disney Cruise Line will graduate its first cohort from its leading light training program as exceeding its workforce commitment to Disney Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point as part of its commitment to Eleuthera. Disney's Regional Public Affairs Director for the Bahamas and the Caribbean, Joey Gaskins, telling Guardian Business that Disney is very proud of its first graduating class. The program prepares residents in South Eleuthera to enter the hospitality industry. In your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Friday, your market movers, APD Limited moving 280 shares, closing at 41.19 unchanged. Commonwealth Bank moving 15,000, down 2 cents, closing at 5.30. Focall moving 1,500, down 17 cents to 4.80. Finco moving 250 unchanged to 12.80. Consolidated Water up 2 cents to 4.93. Emira Incorporated down 14 cents to 8.34. The BISX All Share Index closing at 2,910.84, down 0.31. That's your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. And tune in to CFAL Talks tonight at 6:30 p.m. right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. That is it for us today. DeAndre Cartwright, thank you for being here with us today. I'll see you next week, and I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan, have a great day, everybody. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green next.
Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.